was appalled when I recently read about the cruel tradition, at least it goes by the name of tradition, of the Joginis, that is, extremely poor Dalit girls who are married off to the village deities and then sexually abused by the men. We have Grace Nirmala, who in Andhra Pradesh now runs a home for them after rescuing them, as well as for them and their children.
My father came home one day and told me, now I'll be a Jogini. I asked him what it means. He said it will bring us great respect.
Anjali was just 10 when her parents forced her to become a Jogini. A Yelama married off to the village deity. A Jogini is selected by the village Sarpanch. She is usually a prepubescent Dalit girl who once married becomes village property to be abused and sexually exploited by the men.
The Sarpanch came to tie my Mangal Sutra. I was very scared. I was taken to the village center and raised on a pole. People gathered around to pray. Grace ma'am intervened and saved me. My parents were sent to jail and she brought me here. She is my savior.
Grace Nirmala has rescued 34 Joginis so far. It was in 1993 when Grace, a teacher in Hyderabad, first read about them.
Why all these things is happening? Why with the women? I met many people at the time. Everybody is telling that that is their custom. Then I got a strong decision. I want to work with this woman only.
Grace quit her job and moved to the Mehboob Nagar district, notorious for pushing Dalit girls into the Jogini system. She began with a door-to-door campaign, but she was accused of corrupting the minds of villagers and bringing the wrath of the deity onto the village. She was asked to leave, but Grace refused to give up. She set up a home called Ashray for these girls and for the children born to Joginis.
Some children don't want to go to the schools. No, auntie, we don't want to go. Why? All the times they are asking my father's name, how it is possible. When I went there, I told everything. Don't ask father's name. Don't ask, I am the guardian. If you want, you can put my name, mother name and my name.
Grace now has awareness and rescue campaigns spread across 9 districts of Andhra Pradesh with a core team of 30 members. These committees are run by former Joginis. They've also conducted the first legal marriage of Joginis in this area. While the government does have a 1998 Jogini Abolition Act in place, Grace says it's toothless.
The children are there, no Jogini children. We want to do some DNA test. If mother comes, no, my daughter is born from this man. If he say, if it is correct, we will ask that person give some property to that girl.
Grace runs Ashray with partial international funding. But in times of crisis, it's her belief in doing what's right that keeps her going. And the children make sure she's not disappointed.
Police. I want to be a police officer. I want to arrest all those responsible for making me a Jogini and make sure no one else becomes a victim.
My mother said this is our custom. Once you're married, you have to have sex with any man who wants to. I was auctioned and the highest bidder got me for the first night.
714 kilometers from Hyderabad in southern India, A village called Chalapam has more than 500 lower caste people. And the Jogani system is one of the several forms of exploitation of lower caste women. Joganis are women mainly belonging to the lower caste who are married to the local deity. In fact, they become the property of the village. A Jogani has no rights. She can never get married. There are more than 30,000 Joganis in the state of Andhra Pradesh in southern India. Joganis are also called Basavis or Mathamas. Though banned in India by the government, the Jogani system is still rampant all over the country. It is to this goddess Yellamma that the Joganis are dedicated. Joganis are married to this deity assuming the mantle of the goddess herself. There are many different stories behind the emergence of Yellamma, but most like Ajama, a Jogani herself, believe in this one.
Yellamma goes to the forest to collect flowers. In the forest, she meets a rishi, a learned man. She gets married to Jamadagni, the rishi. One day, when she goes to the river to fetch water, she sees a king and queen bathing in the river. And she thinks, if I had married a rich man instead, my life would have been more luxurious. Her impure thoughts break the clay pot and she comes back empty-handed. Her husband beats her and Lord Shiva comes to her rescue. Her husband orders their son to behead his mother because she has become impure. He tries to kill her, but God Shiva's blessings have made her immortal, a goddess.
This temple of Yellamma in the city of Hyderabad is one of her biggest temples and is a popular place of worship to the lower caste people. Men and women from all over come to worship her and believe she can grant any wish. Outside the temple, there is an equal frenzy and activity like the inside. Like this old woman who sits here every day and begs, or sometimes goes into a trance. She and many believe that the goddess possesses her body. There are some who come here asking the goddess to bless their belongings, be it a scooter, car, or even a child. Sacrificing animals is a way of appeasing the goddess.
After 10 years of long prayers, I was born. They dedicated me to thank Goddess Yellamma. I had to pay the price. I felt very sick when I was small. I was a baby then. My parents dedicated me listening to the villagers.
Today, Lavanamma is dedicating her 1-year-old daughter to the goddess. She goes to the Sarpanch, the village head, to seek his permission. Then they go to a female priest. She also agrees, and the initiation formality is completed.
When my daughter was 6 months old, she fell ill. We didn't have money to go to the doctor. I dedicated her to the goddess because she would cure my child. She saved her life. I have faith in Yellamma.
Lavanamma has now reached the temple where some villagers have gathered to witness the dedication of the baby girl. The initiation process is simple and devoid of any grandeur. Lavanama hopes that by doing this, the goddess will grant her a male child. Jogini means servant of God. But today, these servants of God serve the entire village as prostitutes. Unlike the courtesans in ancient times, who lived under the patronage of the rich, the Joginis are left to fend for themselves. Joginis are rarely paid for their services. A Jogini cannot refuse any man who wishes to have sex with her. She can never break away from the system and marry, though most of them have illegitimate children to look after. A family will dedicate their girl child to Yelama because of illness, family problems, or to have support in their old age. Most Joginis live alone or with their parents. The Jogini system is a socially approved form of prostitution. According to the 1988 Act, the Jogini system is banned in India. This act prohibits women from being dedicated to God in any form. This Yelama temple in Chalapam village is being decorated for a wedding ceremony. Lalitha the bride is being dressed elaborately for the function. The whole village is busy preparing for another dedication. It is bride Lalitha's Mahila Patham, the second and final ceremony before she becomes a Jogini. She will be married to the temple goddess. Meanwhile, the priest and other Joginis are putting the final touches to the temple. Before Lalitha leaves her house, the other Joginis worship her and give her their blessings. She is soon going to become a goddess herself. Rice, coconut and betel leaves are tied to her sari, as it is auspicious. Colored powder designs called Rangoli await her in the temple. It is one of her last days for 13-year-old Renika to play with her friends. Soon she will also be dedicated and become another Jogini.
Lalita is getting married now. Soon it'll be me. That's what everybody says.
As Lalitha arrives at the temple, Joginis dance to the beats of the drum. The ceremony before Lalitha becomes a bride is as elaborate as any other wedding. All expenses are borne by the girl's parents. The Portaraju or the priest makes an imprint of a three-pronged spear or trishul on her tongue and begins the ritual. The villagers have come to witness this ceremony, though it is a frequent festivity for them. Usually it is the priest who marries the girl on behalf of the village. But here the village head will assume the mantle of the groom for the day. He is the proxy groom. He doesn't have any social responsibility towards the girl. In fact, he has a family of his own. Not all Jogini weddings have grooms, and they often marry temple gods in the presence of priests. The bride and groom walking around the fire is part of traditional Hindu weddings. Momentum builds up as the other Joginis start the chanting, and the temple is engulfed in incense. With the hope of appeasing the goddess, a chicken is sacrificed and its blood is smeared on the walls of the temple. Joginis worship Lalitha and put a thread around her, which is 2 small leather strips as pendants, symbolizing the feet of the deity around the girl. By accepting the thali and the money, she now becomes the property of the village.
I didn't know anything that was happening. I was dressed like a bride, taken to the temple, and they said I had to have sex with a man.
The thali made of shells now signifies that she is a Jogini. She is supposed to wear this thali all her life. After the ceremony, Lalitha, now a Jogini, will spend the first night with her groom, the village head. Sometimes the women are auctioned, and the highest bidder sleeps with her for the first night. The parents usually bid on behalf of the Jogini. At times it could be the upper caste man who might have the privilege to sleep with her for the first night, or a rich man who has bought her.
When I refused to have sex with the man who had bought me, they drugged me. In my unconscious state, he had sex with me the first night.
Lalitha is spending her wedding night with the village head. From tomorrow, she will be another Jogini serving the village.
After that night, men started offering me money. I had no choice. A Jogini cannot refuse. My parents wanted me to be with different men and earn more money. I was their only support in old age.
Dancing during jatras or festivals is an important source of income. Joginis are taught to dance from a young age.
I learned to dance at a very young age from older Joginis. We are supposed to go to jatras to dance. I have been there, but the men make fun of you and tease you.
Renuka has already started practicing this art. In her hand is a begging basket, which is part of the traditional dance.
We have to go and dance amongst men during jatras. The men will touch you and pull your sari, but we have to tolerate. Being a jogini today has no value. We are not a goddess anymore.
Street dancing during jatras is very popular. Dressed in theatrical costumes and with loud makeup, these dancers pass through the streets of villages where people throw money. Nowadays, street dancing has become highly commercial, and tradition has given way to the influence of film and popular music. We all go to jatras and watch the joginis dance. Men of all ages get drunk and like to watch the joginis, who are drunk as well. You can't resist them.
Villagers are always making comments when they see us. Look, a jogini is coming. They make fun of us. I have stopped going to dance.
You can touch the woman anywhere you want, any part of her body. Nobody will stop you.
People say that when I dance, I go into a trance. Goddess Yellama possesses me. We have special powers because of Yellama. It happens often and we don't know why.